What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Finesse Phase coming at you again with another haircut tutorial. And trust me, this thing is clean. Look at that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first step is to comb through the hair to lift it so we can get a nice clean cut. And then we take the Oster Octanes with the 5-0 blade, starting at the bottom of the temple and dropping that guideline right below the occipital bone. My next step is to take a 2-guard and cut the hair down to the desired length. And as I get closer to that crown, you can see me being as careful as I can possibly be, combing it out in the right direction and cutting it according to its pattern. And the same thing goes for the front line. He has thin spots on both sides, so I try to be as careful as possible by not going over them when I'm cutting the hair down. And now what you see me doing is taking that same 2, debulking the front line up to give it a nice clean sharp edge up, and then I'm taking that same guard and removing majority of the bulk in my fading area. Whenever I'm cutting hair, I pretty much like to use whatever I'm using for as much of the cut as possible, so I won't have to turn back and constantly grab a different guard or grab a different clipper to do what I need to do. It honestly just makes the hair cutting process a lot easier and a lot more simple. And now you can see me going with the grain with that same 2-guard close, and then I flip the clipper, opening up the 2-guard, and I go against the grain to start fading that bulk down. Now I'm using longer strokes so I can control how much hair I'm taking off the head. Now I'm taking my Wahl Legends with no guard open to create that first guideline. I like using these clippers because they have a long lever just like the Andis Masters. And now in my next step, I have the 1-guard closed to create that second guideline. And now you see me opening up that 1-guard and going with the grain from the bulk all the way down. This is just helping me remove some of the bulk and smooth the hair down at the same time. So when I go and fade it in, it's just going to be a smooth transition. And I guess I missed most of the footage when I was trying to take out the bulk, but this is that 1.5 guard. I use it open and closed to pretty much blend out that whole bulk area. And as you can see throughout the haircut, I'm using the comb to make sure that I put the hair back in place while I'm fading. Now I'm taking that 1-guard one more time to go down with the grain, and then I'm using my corners to clean up any dark spots that 1.5 left. And now you see me take that 1-guard off, start with my clipper closed. I open the lever at least 3 to 4 times until that line is completely blended out. And now you can see that clipper is all the way open in that middle area when I create that first guideline, and I'm just hitting those dark spots now. One thing that I like to do as I'm fading is go ahead and put in that line, so when I come back in detail I can pretty much see all the dark spots that I need to hit. And here I'm tapering up the top of his beard. I'm using no guard because, like I said, these clippers have a very long blade, a long space between the blade, just like the Masters, so I have a lot of range when fading. Now I'm taking that one guard, going back and detailing the fade, hitting some of the dark spots, and just trying to get it as clean as possible. I'm not going to show this side because pretty much whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. And as you can see, I lined up the vertical bar, and now I'm detailing. This time I'm using a different clipper because I did use a different clipper on this side, and I probably should have left it in the video, but you know, the same principle applies. When detailing your haircut, you definitely have to be careful, especially when you're just using the blade open and getting deeper into that fade, because you can definitely make mistakes and it's just not worth rushing. So whenever you're detailing, just take your time and pick your spots. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the more difficult but most important parts of the fade, especially when you're doing side by side. You have to connect that back area to both sides of the fade. And the reason why it's a lot more difficult than both sides of the hair is because you have different growth patterns. You have that occipital bone you have to worry about, and you also have to worry about the different density issues when it comes to the back of the head. Now we are getting to a very important part of the haircut, which is the front lineup. So I start out with a nice hot towel to get those hairs to lay down. I come back and I spray it with spritz to make sure that the hair is stiff. And then I start in the middle and go from side to side to keep a balanced lineup. I usually like to go to whichever side is highest, but seeing as he has thin spots on both sides and he has a pretty even lineup, we're just going to keep it as natural as possible and just choose a side. I think one very important tip when lining up the corners is to come down on top of the hair and pull away from the corner. That will help you get that sharp corner. So right here you can see that both of the corners are thinning, but what we're going to do is fill those corners in with a little bit of color enhancement. We're going to go pretty heavy on those thin spots and lightly put a little bit on the more full area. I like to keep the hairline as natural as possible, so I double it up with some hair fibers because the color enhancement itself has a pretty glossy look to it, so I want to keep it as natural as possible. And right here you can see I am lining up the beard. I like to start at the bottom near the lips because it gives me a pretty good landmark of where I'm going to put the other side, so I can have balance within the beard as well. You can see me combing so I can get that ash line off and come back and hit it again so I can make it as sharp as possible. And then right here you see me pretty much razoring off above his cheek because there's hair that grows there as well, and it makes the cut look cleaner. Now you can just sit back and watch me do the details of the cut. Now while you guys are sitting there watching me do the razor work and the details of finishing up the cut, do me a favor. We trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, so go ahead and like, comment, share, and subscribe. And look at this haircut transformation. Oh my God, that's clean. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.